What up, people? Push Wild Black here with Push Wild Black Sports. This is the recap vlog. I wanted to do this before I started my Saturday today. Couldn't get a chance to get it in Friday because I had other stuff to do right after the game. So that was fun, wasn't it? Historic night for the Cavs, shooting 23s, 24 of 46. That was crazy. That 49-point first quarter was also crazy. That was historic. That whole half was historic, to be honest. And it was and the trend happened the whole game. It seemed like every time Golden State got close to getting it within single digits, because with their shooting firepower, even though the game was seemingly out of reach, I always felt like, okay, if they ever get it to like 10 or 9-point deficit, they can get on a run and they snap and they win the game, just like in Game 3. So that never happened, because it seemed like as soon as they got close, Cleveland shot a three or did something to take the momentum back in the game. So, yeah, that was crazy. But it was a combination of that historic night, because they had to play two historic games, one game they lost and one game they won, to even sniff beating the Warriors. And to be quite honest, if you look at the Warriors stat sheet, Steph's poor shooting was a problem. Klay's poor shooting was a problem. Kevin Durant, him scoring 35 was good, and it kept them in the game. But you need one of the other two Splash Brothers to at least score 20. Like, no one on the Golden State Warriors had more than 16 points. And the person that had the 16 points was Draymond Green. And he was, 6 of 16 from the field. So you have to, the historic night was good, but it was Golden State's ineptness, other than Kevin Durant, that basically lost them that game, because no one else can get it going. It seemed like Steph was really off. Really, really off. Klay was, and I'm not putting this on Klay because he's had a shooting slump throughout the season. He had really good games the last couple of games, but he kind of fit back into form this season. And everybody else was just kind of, Shaun Livingston had a good game off the bench with 10 points, 5 of 7 shooting, but that wasn't enough to keep it competitive. And like I stated earlier, it seemed like as soon as they were trying to get a run going, Cleveland did a crazy play and fixed the problem. So the historic shooting night and then the Cavs, like, it wasn't just Kyrie Irving dropping 40 and LeBron dropping 30 plus and a triple-double. It was everybody else. It was, and I'm actually switching back and forth to the box score here. J.R. Smith went from another 5 to 10 3-point game, which it's not, because when I say J.R. Smith has to have a crazy game, because I've said that before in these, I'm talking about 7 3-pointers or better. But 5 is a good game for him, and that's what they need for him to do. Like, he put up 15 points, and the 3-pointers were timely. That really helps them when he has a good shooting performance. That's why I always figured, like, okay, if he has a good shooting performance at home, which he tends to do, Cleveland will be okay. And even in Game 3, he had a good shooting performance, and he had a shooting performance yesterday. So as long as he's the X factor of the series, if he plays well and he plays under control, everything else will be fine. And you had Tristan Thompson, not really known for his scoring, but he rebounded. So that was all. He rebounded. He was effective. He was effective defensively. He was effective in the lane. So everybody had a balanced, for what they do, everybody had a balanced game. Richard Jefferson had 8 points, which doesn't seem really high on the stat sheet here. But again, off the bench, timely buckets, it was good. So I think that this will end. I've banked them to get in 6. So this doesn't surprise me that it's going to go 5 games. I think most other people had it going 5 games. What surprised me is how the last 2 games have been played. Like, the Golden State Warriors shot horribly other than Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, that 35 points was still good. And everybody else kind of shot like, I think it's going to end up ending Monday. But then again, you never know because LeBron James has been playing crazy. And Kyrie has been found his stroke. And he's been penetrating and shooting threes. It's funny that on the last video, someone mentioned that the Cavs live and die by the three-pointer. So do the Golden State Warriors, but you have transcendent three-point shooters. You have 3 dudes that are like probably some of the greatest three-point shooters in league history on one team, and they didn't shoot well last night. And I actually was going to respond to that commenter saying that Cleveland isn't good at it, but Cleveland isn't better than the Warriors. That I should say it like that. Cleveland's good at it when they're going. The Warriors are more consistent, but that was one of those games where everybody was on fire. And Kyrie Irving dropping 40 points and LeBron dropping 31, 11, and 11. And then Kevin Love was no slouch either. He had 23 rather. When they get it right, and then J.R. Smith has 15, and then you have somebody else like Richard Jefferson having 8, like the Bums had balance in that game. And then you had the big 3 scoring more than 20. So that was supposed to happen. I was very surprised about how it happened, but yeah, that's what happens when they beat the Warriors. The big 3 have to be good, and somebody else other than them has to have a crazy game. So, and now I want to talk about the weirdness that happened with the technical foul situation in the first quarter. Now, I didn't see that part, but when they broke it down, I have a theory. I think they did how it happened. I think they gave I don't think they gave the original technical foul to Steve Kerr. I'm not a conspiracy theory person. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the game was fixed, but I didn't read the article, but somebody posted on my Facebook feed. The NBA was going to lose $22 million if it was a sweep. Now, again, I didn't read the article here, and I'm not going to post it in the comments, or not the comments, but the description. But find that article, y'all. And I don't really like the whole conspiracy theory thing, but here's what I think happened. Now, last year with Draymond Green getting suspended, it affected the series. So the game was already really chippy. The game was chippy anyway. When they made that decision, when they broke it down and they made that decision when Draymond Green was going to get kicked out on that second technical, the game was already chippy. The officials didn't want to put themselves in the game, and they didn't want to alter. They didn't want to alter the game. And you would think if it wasn't the Warriors, Draymond Green would have got kicked out. That whole explanation wouldn't have happened, and Draymond Green would have got kicked out. If it was anybody else, they would have got kicked out. But because it's the Warriors, and the Warriors are so apt to come back from large deficits like that, sending Draymond Green out of the game would have fundamentally changed the game. So, and even I was saying, like, nah, they're giving it to Cleveland now. And I don't even do that. But it just seemed like, that technical foul really wasn't all that serious. And they're like, okay, they're making sure that Cleveland. And I just read the headline of that article. And I was like, okay, they're giving it to Cleveland so Golden State wins it at home and they can get an extra game in, right? And when they broke it down to where it was Steve Kerr, and I'm not saying that decision wasn't warranted, because if you look at what he did, he ran onto the court. Like in the first quarter, when he got off the bench and he ran up to the court. That's a technical foul. So it wasn't that the tech wasn't warranted for Steve. It was just, I don't think they originally gave it to him. I think they gave it to Draymond, and then they were going to kick Draymond out, but they didn't want to fundamentally change the game defensively, so they kind of threw him a bone here. You know what I'm saying? To make it look like, okay, we're not going to put ourselves in the game and the fix is in. And still, it was chippy. People were still saying stuff about the refs just because of how they called things. But yeah, man, that's basically it. But I think the situation with the technical foul, how they broke it down, I think that was on purpose. I think they, just decided to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because I've ran scores tables, and I've not officiated, but I've ran scores tables. I know officials just by my years of playing wheelchair basketball and rugby. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want to put themselves in the game like that. They threw Golden State a bone. So the idea that, that was an accident or whatever, they wanted to they wanted to make it look like they wanted to give Golden State all the opportunity they can to come back and make that game a game. Like the idea that was just a whoops on their part, nah. Because officials, when it comes to the scores table and officials, they're really, they make sure that you understand, that the scores table understands what's going on. They change that on the fly. And anybody that tells me anything different, you're not going to convince me. They changed that on the fly. I know better. But anyway, those are my thoughts about the game. I will see y'all Monday. It was crazy, though. It was really enjoyable. So I hope Cleveland can do it again. Don't see it happening, though. All right. Push Wild Black out. Later.